Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I am really delighted that you're with us today. One of the problems with working with psychic mediums, as you may probably have learned by yourself now as well, is that you have to be very open-minded about the process in order to have a good reading. And that's true even if you go to the most talented possible medium. And I began very early in my career to try to find the best mediums and to test them. And I'm a skeptic by nature, which is the worst possible way to go about testing mediums. So I've had some bad experiences. And at this point, I am not open-minded at all about mediums. So I have long since stopped going to mediums. I don't need to go anyway. I know the truth. And the result at this point is that I can't go to any medium, even a good one, because I'm always skeptical. I'm always saying, now, is that really true? That doesn't sound quite right. And so I don't even bother. That problem is my problem. It's not their problem. And you can take my word for it when I tell you there are some very great mediums working today, and very, very talented mediums. And one of them is our guest today, I'm thrilled to say. Carolyn Molnar is with us on Seek Reality again for the 5th time. Carolyn is a great psychic medium, and she's based in Toronto, Canada. She has more than 30 years experience in this field, and she has a list of faithful clients that's worldwide. She also teaches classes in mediumship and psychic development, and she has led workshops across Canada and also at Lilydale, and that's in New York. She has featured a while back, she was featured on Vice TV's television series Mr. Tachyon, which was, as her segment was called, Do Humans Have a Sixth Sense? Well, of course, we all do. You know that. Carolyn is highlighted in books like Psychics and Mediums in Canada and Medium 7, Evidence of the Afterlife and Predictions. She has been profiled in at least 3 national Canadian newspapers, the Toronto Star, the National Post, and the Globe and Mail. She also wrote, produced, and directed a one-woman play called What? You're a Medium? At the 2016 Toronto Fringe Theatre Festival, and readers of the North York Mirror newspaper voted her their favorite psychic 2 years in a row. Carolyn has written 2 books also and released some guided meditation CDs as well. It's all detailed and it's available on her website, which is conveniently called carolynmolnar.com. Carolyn, I'm so happy to have you with us. Welcome, my dear. It's lovely. Lovely to see you again.
Such a treat to see you again, Roberta. This is like playtime for me.
Playtime for me too. She and I started in talking, and Sam said, "Wait a minute, we got to start recording this." So here we are. Okay, let's talk about mediums, because I'm really a grouch when we start talking about mediums most of the time, because I have known some great mediums, and nearly always I can't get good readings from good mediums, because I am a true skeptic. And when you sit down with a good medium and you're a skeptic, you seldom can get a good reading. And I'm sad about that, because I have had some great mediums. And before I started to become a grump about mediums, I had some wonderful readings. So let's talk about it.
I'm going to tell you a little secret.
Yeah.
They can't read me either.
Oh, I feel better now.
I'm very hard to read, extremely hard. So when I do get something from one of my students that's spot on, it's like Christmas, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I've sat down with some really, really good ones, and they're all over the map. And it's not them. I think it's just my energy.
It's me. It's always me.
Because it's me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my energy field or whatever. It's just not open. So
that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a skeptic, you can't get a good reading, and that's really sad.
If you're skeptical, it's okay. It's when you're a cynic. That's not okay.
All right, I'm even worse. I'm a cynic. Oh,
No, you're not. You're
humiliating.
not. I can't even, you're not no, no. But, skeptics mean that there is an opening, like, okay, prove it to me. Whereas
Yeah.
cynics are like, you're out of your mind. So,
Okay, you and I are, let's be clear about this. You and I are certain that life is eternal.
yes.
We know that for a fact,
Yeah.
but we are cynical about mediums
Yeah. The
because
connect.
we have been read, quote, read by so many people for whom the gift was dim.
Mm-hmm.
So we are always prepared for that to happen. And then it happens because it's us, it's not them.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
When it
Good.
happens to you,
Glad.
I feel better.
Um,
So let's talk to people who are not cynics like us. How do
sure.
they get a good reading?
Being open-minded.
Mhm.
For me, my style is I'm a permission-based psychic medium. So what that means is if you write your questions down, we're off and running. If you're just saying, come in and just give it to me generally, it's like, okay, where do you want me to start? There's just so much
Yeah.
on here. I
Okay.
need focus. I need permission. And with mediumship, which is only talking to dead people, it has nothing to do with your life at the moment. Photographs are great because it does capture the energy of the spirit, and I
Hmm.
can get personality and their voice, the client's voice, plus the photograph is like a key in a lock. It just opens things up for me. How do
Okay.
you find a good medium? I would say do your homework. Word of mouth is the best. I've had a great experience. Maybe you should give this gal a try or this fella a try. If that doesn't work, uh, check online. Good mediums should have a website. But I'll tell you one thing to watch for. If you're getting a reading and they say something to the effect of, well, for $1,200, I'll get the curse off you, say thank you very much and hang up. There are those out
Oh
there,
yeah.
and those are called scams.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, my highest reading blogs on my website are about scams. And I've had some really sad stories about that, thousands of dollars being taken. So everybody be careful of that. If a medium can't connect to your loved one, they should be honest about that. I've had that happen. There was a woman who passed from juvenile diabetes and she was 32, but she didn't care she had it. So she lived her life, smoked, drank, ate whatever she wanted, and she passed away. And her loved one, her partner came to see me, and I could get his mother, father, uncle, everybody but her. And I said, you know what? Let me tell you, come back in 3 months and we'll see if you want, and we'll see. And sure enough, she was bouncing off the walls. She was all over the place. She was like firebrand. And what happens when mediums can't connect? Sometimes it's because the spirit's not available because they've been so unwell that their energy level has depleted. So they can't connect. They need time to rejuvenate. So that what might be one of the reasons why, there are issues with connection.
That's a
Um,
very important point. Let's emphasize that. When
mhm,
people have just transitioned, if they were especially, and sometimes even if they didn't seem to be ill, during the first 3 months, even as much as 6 months after they have transitioned, they're very often in a healing garden, being cared for. Sometimes they were mentally ill, sometimes they were physically ill, sometimes they are just as you say, their energy is depleted following their transition and they're being ministered to and they
yes.
need to heal.
The
And
other
once
thing
they heal, they're okay.
The other thing too is like us, for example, going to a new country. Do we speak the language? Do we have the money? Where are we going to live? Where's our groceries from? Like they're just trying to get themselves situated. Um,
Yes.
it can be quite depending on your belief system because you bring that into the spirit world with you. This could be
Oh, yes, that's another great point.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are so amazed by where they are that where they are is not yet where they are.
Yeah.
They literally don't believe yet in their surroundings, and their surroundings, therefore, are not quite there yet for them. And that's hard to describe. It's hard to explain quite how that could be true. But because consciousness is a freakish thing, if they don't yet believe quite in the afterlife, which is all around them, they don't perceive it quite as it
And,
actually is.
and the afterlife is driven by thought.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you think there's nothing in the afterlife, and then you're presented with all this stuff, it's like it's overwhelming, right?
Yes,
Got to
yes.
sit down and take a look, and then you realize, boop, you just thought about somebody, and that somebody's there because the thought connected them, and it's totally different on the other side.
It's
And
boggling. It's totally boggling.
mhm, yeah, much more freeing than here, I have to say. I've had some spirits say, I try really hard not to think about my loved ones so I can have some peace and quiet to myself.
Right. No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful beyond any dream of wonderful that you have ever had. But
Mhm.
it is quite different from here.
It is. It is. We're,
And they have to become accustomed,
that's it. That's it. So,
especially if they've never known anything about it. People who have studied the afterlife are much, much, much more prepared. And
yes,
here's a little plug for seekreality.com. Seekreality.com is a website which does nothing but teach about what the afterlife is actually like. If you are used to that, it'll be much easier for you. It's like you're going to go to Yugoslavia. Study a little bit about Yugoslavia, and you'll have a little easier time getting used to it if you've never been there before.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So back to the original question, do your homework to find a good medium. Do your homework.
Yes.
Ask around. Go and see good mediumship. Lilydale, New York, if it's
Yes.
accessible to you. There are several times a day that you can see mediums work. Some are better than others. It's a great comparison. And they are available for readings too. So not necessarily the day of, because now they have online registration, so people can be booked up for months prior to the season. So, but after season, they could be available. So there's that
What is
too.
the season there?
The last week of June till Labor Day weekend is their
So
season.
summer, all summer.
Yeah. And they have all kinds of program going on during that time. Mhm.
Do they have physical mediums there too?
They do, but it's something that you have to be invited to for the most part. I've seen some table tipping and stuff like that, and that's offered to the general public. But the hardcore sort of sit down and a spirit person shows up in sort of etheric form. That
Wow.
is, you
So
have to be vetted.
exciting. That's so exciting.
Well, you have to be vetted. This is where you need to be really open-minded because you can actually shut the whole thing down by
Yep,
not
that's
being.
right.
Yeah. So the host has to trust you and know you or know of you before you're invited in. Hmm.
Wow, isn't that amazing? That's still going on. I just love knowing that.
Yeah. I was
That's been going on for a century and a half, more.
Yeah, well, you know what happened is it was here before mental mediumship, which is the clairvoyance, clairaudience,
Of
clairsentience.
course.
And what happened, there was so much fraud that spirit said, okay, we can't do this anymore because all of it was done in the dark, right? So it
Right.
moved to the mental mediumship. So, there's no strings attached. It's just what you see is what you get. So to be able to be in a physical mediumship circle is really a privilege. It's
Big
rare.
time. Very big time. That's
Mhm.
right.
Mhm. And I
That's
wouldn't
right.
recommend it for the faint of heart, quite frankly. When you start seeing things flying around the room or pennies dropping from the ceiling, it can unnerve you if you're not prepared
If you
for it.
don't know a lot about it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't studied it,
Do your
yeah.
homework. Yes.
Yes, big time. That's right. No, that's exciting. So what do you normally do? You have your website, which is your name, which is very handy. It's good that you were able to do that, and you people can sort of go to your website, learn more about you, and
Yes.
then reach out to you. So if
Yes.
they're interested in you, can you recommend other mediums too if they're interested?
I prefer not because then my reputation is on the line if things don't work.
Oh, wow.
Very careful about
Is
that.
there anywhere people can go and find vetted nowadays and find people?
Not that
Because
I
they
know of.
ask me to recommend them, and I sort of do a little bit when I hear about them. But as I say, I can't myself test them, so I don't even know.
I don't know myself. I'll be frank with you, I haven't looked. I just don't know. Yeah.
This is kind of sad when you think about it.
Mhm.
But the problem is that even the very best mental mediums, psychic mediums, have good days and bad days.
Yes. Well,
And everyone expects if you go to a medium, it's like picking up a phone. I think I'll just call up my great 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 Aunt Mildred, who, died 2 years ago, and check in with her. Okay, I'll go to the medium. I'll pay my $100 or whatever it costs, and check in with her. They think that's what it's like, and it isn't that way at all.
well, they blame the medium because they can see the medium, but oftentimes it's the spirit. They just don't show up. And, there's nothing I can do about that. I've had that happen. Oh boy. And they were not pleased about it, but, you can only do what you can do. And there are no
People in
guarantees. This
spirit
is
are
not a
still
science.
people. They may or may not come. They
Mhm.
may or may not be having a good day.
Mhm. Or
When
they
I was
don't like you. Why would they come? That's the other one. We didn't get along, so I'm not interested in seeing you. And I've had that happen too. And it's been explained by the spouse, like, oh, his mother really didn't like her, so him, sorry. So that's why she.
they tell you that after the fact. No wonder. Oh,
And
Lord.
what a struggle, if the spirit doesn't show up. Oh, yeah, I've got stories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, people think this is a science. It's not. It's an
It
art.
is not
It's
at
very
all.
creative. It's like you're pulling things out of nowhere. You're either hearing, you're seeing, you're tasting, you're smelling, you're sensing, or you just know, and you can't put your finger on it. For me to
And
try to
and they
explain
do
it.
funny things too. That the people in the afterlife do strange things. I mean, I had a very good medium, a reading with a very good medium, and my mother came right through, and she knew it was my mother, and she said, "Why does she keep pointing at her eyebrow?" Now, she didn't say why she kept pointing at her eyebrow. I had to know why she kept putting. Now, it turned out that was the best possible way my mother could have proven it was really my mother.
Right.
But nobody would have known that.
No,
And,
except you.
that this is what they do. I mean, these people in the afterlife. The reason she pointed at her eyebrow was my mother didn't have eyebrows. She had little bits of, hair there. So
Mhm.
she always painted these, I could show you a picture, you would see immediately. She painted these gigantic eyebrows on.
Mhm.
And after I explained that to the medium, she said, "Oh, she just said, now I don't have to paint them on anymore." Now, that was a great sign from a dead
Yes.
person.
Yes.
But if I hadn't been there to say why to the medium, my mother never would have told her.
No, no.
So,
She expects that you would know that. Like that's the relationship between you and her. The medium has never met your mother before, so how
I
would she
has
know
no idea why that. So
unless
that,
your mother says something to her? All she's doing is this.
right, that's right.
Hmm.
So it's like she's testing the medium, and I'm testing the medium. So the poor medium, she's in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
So and when I was testing 20 some odd years ago, when I was testing psychic mediums, also the same in the beginning, the first two, I got excellent readings. But after that, I only got, I'm trying to remember, this is a long time ago, like 25 years ago. But after that, only two or three people showed up. They got bored. They weren't going to keep coming. They weren't circus animals, right?
I told you already. What more do you want, right?
Yeah.
I
And
need
and
my
and
stuff.
my son-in-law always came.
Hmm.
And my father always appeared but never spoke.
Was he
I
a
knew who
quiet
he
man?
was, but he for 20 years he would always show up, but he would never say a word. He wouldn't even say who he was. I knew him by the appearance.
So was he a
That was
quiet?
it.
Was
He
he a
wouldn't speak
quiet man?
because he felt guilty.
Oh, okay.
20 years later, he finally showed up to my daughter and he said, "Will you please tell your mother and your aunt that I am very sorry?"
Aw,
First thing he said.
aw, that's so
I
sweet.
never found out what he was sorry about, but that was the only time he ever spoke. Then he never showed up again to anybody.
Well, he delivered his message. I guess that's it.
Right. But that's how they are. This is how dead people are. They're not
They
dead,
are themselves, is
but they're
what they
still
are.
themselves. And
Yes.
apparently he fi he finally made peace with himself about something that he had trouble forgiving himself for in his life review. And I don't know. I'll find out eventually what that was all about, but I don't know what it was.
Well, I had a student whose husband passed, and another student gave her a reading about a certain subject matter, and it was golf. And she says, "I hate golf. Why would he say that to me?" And I said, "Did he tease you about golf?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, he's at it again."
Yeah,
You know,
right.
sometimes you have
They're
to,
still exactly themselves.
yeah,
And, that's who they are. And
yeah.
and why my son-in-law, my son-in-law was always interested in this field. And so that's why he kept pluckily showing up. But
Mhm.
after the first two readings, after I had a list of 20 mediums I was going to test, after the first two, nobody showed up but him. And as I say, my father, who never spoke. So I couldn't test 20 mediums. They wouldn't let me.
No, and as you can see, it's not the medium, it's the spirits.
It's the spirits, right?
Yeah.
So there you have it, my
There you
dear.
have it. Yeah. You know, I wish it was a science, but it's not.
It's not at all. It's just people. That's who
Yeah.
people are.
People without a body. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I,
But
s- I say to
so,
people, if you want information, go to your spirit guides, not your loved ones, because they'll have
yeah,
the same belief system. If they wanted you married at 20, they still want you married, you know?
yeah,
Um, it just,
they're the same
they
people.
are the same. Yeah, don't.
Do people come to you and ask you how to contact their spirit guides?
Yes, and I tell them, I tell them to meditate and put the intention out that you want to meet them. And when you sense them, see them, or hear them, don't say, "Oh my God, I can't believe it," because boop, it's gone. So you have to just kind of roll
Right.
inches and keep doing it. As a matter of fact, my students right now, this next 2 weeks, that's their job. They have 4 questions to ask their spirit guide or guides to find out what the role is that they are working with my students. So definitely meditation. And yeah, that's the key. We are not quiet enough to hear them properly unless we are trained to know what to watch for. Um, and that reminds me, I have a YouTube channel, and on it there's a playlist called Signs from Spirit, and those are 18 to 20 clips, perhaps some may be repetitious, about what to watch for because it's so darn subtle that we
Okay,
don't.
so what is your YouTube channel?
Oh gosh, it's just Carolyn Molnar YouTube to find it because uh,
Okay.
the handle is like 50.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll add that. But now, if people are interested in meeting their spirit guides, can I send them to you? Because
Sure, but they can do it themselves. If they want to see me, I'm happy. But I would like to focus on.
they ask me, people ask me all the time because I have a very close relationship with my guide, and he and I we do a lot of things together, which I could never do if I didn't have him right here all the time. And they know him by name and all of that, and they say, "Okay, show me how to do what you do with your spirit guide." And I've tried, but
Oh, you know what?
he started this relationship, and I can't teach people how to do what I do.
You know what? They need to meditate. So meditation. Think about it with physics. We are a long wave because we are solid.
Hmm.
They are a short wave because they are etheric. They are like gas, right? So what we need to do is we need to get our waves higher and their waves need to get lower so we touch. And that's when we meet them. How do you do that? When you meditate, you raise your vibration level.
You know what he's saying right now? He's saying, "You can never teach this." He's saying this to me.
Oh,
He has no faith in me at all. This being has no faith in me at all.
Oh dear. Fire him.
So this is what I live with.
But seriously, find a quiet room, say a prayer of protection, like, please keep the light around.
No, he and I are in constant communication. I have no trouble communicating
But
with
I'm
him.
hoping that your reader or your viewership will try this. You don't need to, but the people that are listening to this,
Yeah.
if they're looking for a way, they can do it. Find quiet and an intention to meet them. It's great to do it just before you go to sleep. Make sure you protect yourself.
Yeah.
Go into your sleep state, and you may, in your dream state, see them. And this is a long process. It's not something like, there we are, we're done, here we are. No, it takes building a relationship.
Oh, yes.
Trust.
I do tell them that. And I do tell them it's soft and it's subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And what I tell them is where I first came to know him well, you first have to tell him to get out of my mind and go to a place where I won't think your voice is my thoughts.
Right.
So they generally go behind your dominant shoulder, is what I have told the people I'm trying to teach. So he will go behind. He first went behind my left shoulder. Now I always know that he's talking and not me, but not my thoughts. But no, he doesn't think I have the patience, is what he just clarified to me, to teach this.
And Roberta, everybody's different. We're all wired differently.
Yeah.
They feel it on your shoulder and your left shoulder. They may feel it on the top of their head. They may feel their third eye being pressured. They may feel, something on their throat.
Yeah.
It's all according to how the person can pick up information from their spirit guides. But there will the more you do it, there will be a pattern to it. And, when you...
But you do teach this and you find people...
No, I don't teach this except to get the students to do what I'm just saying now. They're doing it on their own, not in class. This is their private, quiet time with their spirit guides. So I teach them psychic work, like, how to pick up information in the aura, how to pick up information on the person's life. That's one thing that's being fed by spirit guides.
Uh-huh.
But if you want to get to know them, that you're on your own. You've got to meditate. I can't do it for you.
No, of course, that's the problem. You really, it's something that you have to experience on your own. This understanding of this other being who's basically sharing your body with you. Yeah, it's quite an amazing thing.
And I think the most important thing is patience.
And belief too. You have to, because it's subtle. It's a very subtle relationship. And you have to basically trust that, that really is your guide. It isn't just your thoughts.
We're a logical being innately, and it's our logic that can really mess things up. Oh, I'm making stuff up.
That's true.
Don't go there, people. Don't say that, because it's gone.
Trust. You have to trust. Oh, yeah, that really wasn't me. That really was my guide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
so true.
With us. I mean, I remember in the beginning, I was so impatient to get going and to get doing it right.
Well, that's the way people are. I mean, we're all impatient.
Yeah, but I remember my guides kind of standing back and crossing their arms and tapping their foot and saying, we'll wait for the hissy fit. We'll just wait until she's done. When then I was done and I apologized, then they were at it again. So they don't give up on us. They just have our human moments.
Oh, they actually love us very much. They love us, and they're there. As he keeps reminding me, the more I grow, the more merit he earns. I mean,
yes, exactly. That's why they're with us. They're learning through us, and
they're learning, and they're gaining merit. Yeah,
yeah. Is it Thomas? I keep hearing Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah. That's
wow.
That's not his real name, but that's his name that he has assumed.
And you know what? That's what they do. They could have a name that you can't pronounce. It's not even English, right? And I've had situations where they come in in white cloaks with a robe and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then they reveal themselves and they're an insect. But the reason they do that is so they don't scare you initially, that you get used to what you think a spirit
He
guide
just
should look
told me
like.
he just told me he is not an insect. Thank you. I'm relieved about that. Yes.
Yeah, but they come in as in a way to.
One morning, one very early morning, he showed up and he looked like a sixth level being. Normally he dresses the way Jesus dressed, but he appeared like a sixth level being with, very tall, and he had a Fu Manchu beard. And I laughed at him. I said, "You look so funny." But I don't know. He had been in some meeting of sixth level beings. I don't know, but he looked funny.
Mhm.
But it is wonderful to have this. I just have one, whoever shows up for me, and he just is wonderful.
Mhm.
And when I can't write I publish every week. I do these interviews, of course, and then I publish and I practice law a lot. And I do these blog posts every week. And if it's already almost time for it to be posted and I still haven't got much done, I just say help. And he writes the whole damn thing. Pardon me
Yeah.
for
I had that happen with the eulogy for my mentor. It was,
yeah.
I didn't know until the night before that I was actually going to have this done. So I said to her, please wake me up and in the morning and we will get this done. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, oh, no, 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 no. Let me go back to sleep. 6 a.m. earliest. Boom, 6 a.m. up. I go downstairs. I put my hand on the computer and I wrote a 3-page typed
Yeah.
eulogy with no grammar mistakes, no spelling mistakes, nothing. And I said to her, you've forgotten somebody in your family. You really need to add. Rah, rah, rah. I heard her go like this. And I said, okay, could we just put this in? And boom, it was in. It was the perfect eulogy. People came up to me and said, how do you know her so well? She was such a private person. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, if you knew. She wrote her own eulogy. Yep.
I am used to it now. It
Yeah.
took me a while to trust as much as I trust, but
It's trust.
now I trust completely.
Yeah.
I-
That's what we have to build in these meditation moments is trusting what we are experiencing is truth.
yeah, and trust that he always will have my back. That's
Oh
I know.
yeah. No doubt for me. No doubt. I've had near misses thanks to them getting me out of certain situations. I am just so grateful. Hmm. And when I have a great day or great readings and stuff like that, I'll always thank them because I know that they're there protecting me. I know I've asked for clarity and confirmation on all levels, and they're there for me for that. They've never led me astray. And, the readings that don't work well, here's the ones. They have expectations. They want to hear a certain thing and they're not getting it and they're disappointed. They will review this with me and say, this wasn't about you. This is what they were expecting and that you didn't give it to them. So don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Okay. And then I move on.
I think that's a very, very important point. If you want a reading and you go to a very good medium and you get a reading and you're disappointed, always remember you may not get what you want, you'll get what you need.
Oh,
So
that's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
take
Hmm.
what you get
Hmm.
and live with it and think about it. And I
Hmm.
think you'll realize after a day or two that what you got was important. It may
Yeah.
not have, and what you what you wanted from the people that have gone ahead may not have been important for you right now to get.
Hmm.
And maybe they didn't want to give it to you for whatever reason.
There's
Maybe it
that
was
too.
not time for you to hear that now.
Exactly.
Maybe it was a kind of closure, which it was not right for you to get right now from them. Maybe
Exactly.
you
I've had
needed,
that happen. Yes. 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 Hmm.
maybe you needed to have the issue stay open for a while so you could live with it, so you could grow with it
Hmm.
before you got closure on it.
Well, I had somebody I read for, this past week. And of course, these things are very touchy. It was about a will and a sister who had kind of taken over the mom and written the other sister out of the will. And this other sister comes to me and says, is that going to change? And am I out of the will? And I said, it's not going to change. And yes, you are out of the will. And she was so unhappy. And when you say this is what you need to hear, the moment you said that was now you can readjust to the reality that's been given to you. That's
Right.
what the messages are for, right?
Quite often. That's right.
Yeah, I get it. You're a great teacher. Thank you.
No, but so are you. I mean, it's reality. The thing we always in living our lives need to remember is that we are not here to have playtime. We are
No,
here to learn the lessons that we ourselves, before our births, have planned into these lives.
exactly.
And sometimes school is hard.
Oh, yeah.
And it's meant to be hard.
Mhm.
And who planned these lessons into our lives?
Me, myself, and I.
Yep, we did. We always are the ones who wanted the lessons, and we wanted them to be hard because we would love it if we didn't have to keep coming back.
Exactly. You know what? I have a little something that I learned, and that's this. You know how there's always something that repeats and it's the lesson continually repeats itself? It indicates that you didn't get it. So you need to stop and say, okay, what is the message in this? Be quiet, listen, and then adjust. And the other lesson I learned is it's not so much what the challenge is. It's how you react to it that matters. And I
That's
went,
right.
oh, okay. So I don't have to get all worked up about anything. I can just be in this Zen mode and manage. So that was a huge game changer for me.
That's right. That's very important.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when you have learned the lesson, the hard lesson, not the easy ones, the
Yeah.
hard lesson, and been at peace with it and gone on without being bitter about it, forgiven. And I mean, when she forgives her sister for doing that cheap, shabby thing, maybe that was the last lesson she needed to really learn to grow by miles.
Yeah.
Love the most you can possibly love. And maybe now she's level 5 and she never needs to come back. What a beautiful thing that is.
If she takes that route, yes. But we are, caught in this human web.
But we
So,
can escape it. She has that
no,
choice. What
yeah,
a
if we
beautiful
know.
choice she now has.
Mhm. It's not easy being a medium, let me tell you, and a psychic. You come up again. You usually meet people who have challenges, and that's why they come to you, right?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not psychic.
You know what?
Not psychic at all.
If it was love and light all the time, why would you bother? Why would you bother? Right?
No,
Nothing I don't need to know anything. I like it the way I am. I'm happy.
no. But one of the things I love about the things I'm called to do is that Thomas and I teach a class in being spiritual and growing spiritually, and watching people get these things and make these connections and have these lessons happen to them, and then learn that they do have the choice of forgiving and growing. That's a beautiful thing.
That certainly is.
I
It's
love that.
magnificent. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
teach a class in it once a week, and which is Wednesday evenings. And every time I teach that class, and I see how much the people that I love in the class are learning, it just makes me so happy. I can't tell you. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I hear you. I hear you. For me, it's when I see my students growing, even if it's incrementally in the class where I see from the first to the last class, and that they're happy, they're
Yeah,
excited, they've opened up.
yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing. Yeah. And I'm just the witness to it.
Oh no, yeah. You're just you facilitate what's possible, what's already inside them. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
What bothers me, though, I have to tell you, is that I mean, I was a very good Christian for a long time, and I still teach Jesus
Mhm.
because Jesus taught nothing that the Christians teach. He taught the truth, and the Christians don't teach the truth.
Mhm.
And so, what I think is tragic that I have to basically unteach what they learned in the churches. It's very sad.
Yeah.
You know, all the fear-based
Mhm.
stuff,
Keeps them in
all the
church.
anger-based stuff.
Keeps them in church.
Yep, that's what they learned in church. Very
Mhm.
sad.
Well, in the religion I follow, Jesus was the greatest medium.
Well, he certainly was a medium, that's for
Yeah, I think
sure.
in Gethsemane where he was speaking to, I think it was Gabriel,
Yeah.
the angels. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
sure.
right? So,
No. What Jesus taught was complete truth. And I use those teachings to
mhm,
help people understand why we're really here
mhm,
and how to grow spiritually,
mhm.
which is what he taught.
And
No,
you know
it's
what's really
beautiful.
crazy? People in spirit are clamoring to get here because they want an accelerated experience and they don't have a space for it because there's not enough energy. There's not enough opportunity to come into the planet, like be birthed into the planet.
Oh, that's true. That is true. There are too few bodies,
Yeah,
and they're trying to find ways, alternative ways, to grow spiritually without coming into a body. But the trouble is that it's nothing but love there. There's nothing to push against.
exactly. Exactly. Yep. So it's ironic because most of us would just like to go home.
Yeah.
And yet
But
here's
here
this.
is the precious place. Here is the
Yes.
place where you have the opportunity to grow by miles.
Hmm.
You can go from, level 3 to level 6 in one lifetime if you just use the lessons correctly.
And you know what? The other thing too is service to others.
Oh,
It's
yes.
critical.
Oh, yes.
I had a YouTube viewer write me on it. I haven't got it on my YouTube channel yet because I just did it the other day. But she asked, I have a white collar job. What can I do with progressing my soul and serving others? And I said, just open doors, listen to people, pick something up that was asked about without being asked again. Say something nice to the checkout gal as you're leaving. It might be the first time she's, heard that all day. It doesn't have to be big.
We were just talking about that last evening.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's very important. Every service person, you can make that person's day, every single one of them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Thank them, give them a bigger tip,
Hmm.
maybe give them a pay the person behind you if you go through a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes,
Pay the
yes,
say here, what does the person behind me owe, and pay that person's bill, and then maybe they'll pay the person behind them's bill.
yes, and so on. Yeah, yeah. Um, all that counts. It doesn't have to be formal volunteering. It's how you live your life and how you are towards others. Show
When
compassion.
one woman said that she smiles and says hello to everybody, obviously there aren't many people she passes on the street or she'd go crazy, but she smiles and says hello to everybody she passes on the street. And she said people are looking behind.
Yeah,
Did I know that woman? Yeah.
yeah,
Try
uncomfortable.
to make everybody you even come into the slightest contact with happier for having seen you.
That is
You
service.
asked to.
Hmm. Hmm. So that's another big lesson as to why we're here on the planet, to raise the vibration level to a
Of
place.
everybody that you come into contact with,
Yeah,
however
passion,
slightly.
love. Yeah. Hmm. We got a long way to go, Roberta, I have to say. We got to really work at this. Everybody needs to do their part. It doesn't have to be a big to do.
But if everybody who comes into contact with you, even slightly, has a slightly better day, and then if they kind of do that to other people too, make their day a little better, and each one teach one,
Yeah,
and do that all day long, the world changes.
it does. And remember, you teach people how to treat you. So if you're a happy, nice person who wants to help, perhaps you'll be attracting those kinds of people to you. Hmm.
Yes. What I'm trying to do now is to figure out, though, how all these people, and they come to me because of my podcast and because of the of my blog post, how to come up with the way of Jesus as a kind of alternative Sunday. You know what we're doing that now in this class I'm teaching. Um, we have to come up with a way for them to get together and go and teach the way of Jesus
Hmm.
because people think they have to go to church, and when they go to church, they're lowering their vibration automatically. I had to stop going to church with my husband, who was still a Catholic,
Hmm.
because I would walk into that church and I would see the life-size, full-color plaster Jesus bleeding on the cross above the altar, and automatically my vibration would go right down.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah. Just be with it, just be that person that when there is a need,
How do we give people an alternative way to come
by
together?
speaking to them, by speaking with them. It has to be informal, just like Jesus did originally, speaking
But
to
eventually he sent people out. That's,
eventually it starts with one at a time, just like what you're doing with saying nice things to people in the checkout, or it starts small.
but they're starting to ask me, where do they go on Sunday? Where do they go to be fed?
They could start their own circle. Zoom is
I don't know. I
yeah,
don't
well,
know, but there has to be a way to do what Jesus did and tell them, go. I mean, they started their own circles.
mhm,
There were places that they could go,
mhm.
even though they were persecuted. They came together in their little groups. I don't
Yeah,
know what those groups would be like, though.
well, it's a new time, but I do feel that there will be an opportunity. It will show itself when it's ready, when it's ready.
I don't know.
But I
Well,
see circles, small circles of people, like-minded individuals talking it through, and then taking that energy out into the world, because it's all it takes is energy. It doesn't take talk.
and the only books they would need would be just the Gospels, really. The Gospels, maybe A Course in Miracles too.
There's a book that I read called the Urantia book, Urantia. It was written in the 50s, so it's kind of like that flavor of writing, and it's four books in one. It's the super universe, which we know is heaven, the universe, earth, and then the life of Jesus. And it was completely channeled. And it became the book that
I, I
my
have t
go-to book.
I have two books too that I've written that are both channeled.
Hmm.
Thomas just reminded me, why don't you use your books? Yes, I wrote two books that were channeled.
Yeah, we all
I think they're for
work
that purpose
that way.
too.
Hmm.
And a children's book. I don't know. The day will come. I've just
Yeah.
noticed from the clock we were supposed to stop talking. This has been so wonderful. We'll have to do this again. The
Yes,
time
please.
passes so fast.
It does. It's
When we,
always a pleasure chatting with you, Roberta. Thank you so much.
it really is fun, isn't it? I enjoy you so much.
Thank
What do you
you.
want people to take away from what we've been saying?
Don't give up. There is hope.
There certainly is hope. But to find a medium, there are some good mediums.
Yes,
We're
word of
talking
mouth.
to one right now.
Thank you. Word of mouth. Do your homework. Look on the websites. I have a long, long list of testimonials from different people. See how long they've been working. I have to tell you, I've got to change your bio to me because it's now 45 years. I've been working 45.
45 years. Oh,
Yeah, I
goodness.
started
We'll
when I
put
was
that.
8. So yeah. So look at the credentials of them, see what their training is, because there is training out there. And go to Lilydale if you can, or
Yeah,
any of these.
Lilydale is a wonderful idea. I mean, I
Yeah.
have to To just reinforce something you said at the start, if they say, I can remove a curse from you, if they say that to you, everybody run, because
Yep.
there is no such thing as an effective curse.
No,
It's all in your mind. There is no such
exactly.
thing as an effective curse.
And it's interesting because when you give the money, they disappear.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
No.
There only is effective love, and that is very, very powerful. Will you stay right there, my dear? I just have to tell everyone who our guest next week will be, but I'll be right back. Oh, hasn't that been wonderful? Oh, I just love my friend, my dear friend. Okay. Once again, my beloved friends, we've come to the end of our time. This has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes, and I'm so, so happy you could join our little conversation. Oh, please never forget, you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end, and that's the truth. And when you get it, and when you get all its implications, you never, ever will be the same again. Next week, our guest will be the wonderful Brandy Gilmore. She'll be with us for the fourth time, and when Brandy suffered a truly traumatic accident and doctors couldn't be of much help, she learned how to heal herself. Her story is, I think, unbelievable, but it's true, and she tells it in her wonderful book, Master Your Mind and Energy to Heal Your Body. Please be sure to join us next week because you're going to love this. And we've been talking with the wonderful Carolyn Molnar. She also has she's actually been with us for the fifth time. Carolyn is just a lovely person, a gentle friend, I think a sainted human being actually, who's concerned about the way things are going in the world, and she gently addresses them. The last time we talked, she was very involved with young people, and now she's actually been a naturally talented medium for 45 years. And whenever I talk with her, I just can't stop talking with her. Oh, so she'll be back again before too long. And meanwhile, blessings to her. She's beautiful. Also, as you know, our great friend Craig Hogan is the president and guru of Seek Reality Online, and that's your one-stop resource for all things afterlife. You have no choice about living forever, so you may as well know the truth before you get there, and you'll have a lot more fun a lot sooner. Go to seekreality.com, learn the truth, and just have fun a lot sooner. But meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you, only you, most of all in this entire universe, you in particular are infinitely, perfectly, and eternally loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.